This is another masterpiece from 1978. This is Michael Cimino's The Deer Hunter. And this 4K UHD Blu-ray disc displays a very good representation of how the original film prints really looked. I remember seeing this film on a re-release, must have been about 1981. I think I was around 16 years old, and really I was too young to appreciate the quality of this film at that time. Certainly the colours, the muted colours, the very dull look, it was very grainy, and nothing really happened for at least an hour, might have been more. And then all of a sudden we're in Vietnam, and it's all very brutal. I thought that part was terrific, and then it all went a bit slow again. But looking at it again today, how wrong I was. I was just too young to understand this film, and I'm really pleased that I picked up this 4K UHD Blu-ray disc to watch it again. What a revelation. I can see why this film won 5 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director. I think Christoper Walken got Best Supporting Actor, and I think there was Best Editing and Best Sound Editing. Now that first hour is taken up with the main characters, and really it's a trio of protagonists in this, but there's a group of friends, and 3 of them were just about to head off to Vietnam. So they're all leaving the steel mill with their friends where they work, having completed a night shift. And apparently during those times, the bars were open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just like the mills. So they all head to a pub, and it's a lovely scene, but as a youngster with not much film experience, you think, what is this all about? And one of the characters, Steve, played by John Savage, is getting married, and it then segues to the wedding, which goes on for about 3/4 of an hour. But you have no doubt of who the main characters are, and you want those main characters to get through this film, and that is largely what it's all about. Now there's something on the menus early on that I spotted that really told me that the people who had mastered these discs knew what they were about, and that was in the setup. You go into the setup to select the sound. I spotted Dolby Stereo, and that was actually, they've tried to reproduce the original 70mm 6-track Dolby Stereo to put on these discs. Now it's not possible to have the 6-track 70mm sound on modern home sound systems because you need 5 channels at the front, 1 at the rear. So they've done it as closely as they can, and I selected that, ran the film in that, and you really could imagine you were one of Britain's premier theatres such as the Empire Leicester Square or the Odeon Leicester Square. It really is a good reproduction of 70mm sound. So I use that rather than the 2-channel DTS, DTS HD it was in fact, Digital Theatre System High Definition. But a very good representation of how the film would have sounded back then at a premier theatre. When it comes to the picture quality on this disc, it was certainly too dark on my Optoma video projector here. So just in a few places, so I double checked it on our 4K setup in the living room on our, 40-inch television, which is not even 3 feet wide, is it? So not ideal to watch a film like The Deer Hunter, but nevertheless you could see that the image was indeed brighter on that system. So something of a bit of an incompatibility here with the video projector, but nevertheless this was very dark at cinemas, and deliberately so. There's a bonus disc in here where they interview some of the important characters responsible for the film, and the most interesting one on here is with the original cinematographer. And he explained that they deliberately took the cameras 2 stops down in order to ensure that the film had that gritty, grainy, dark look and the muted colours. So it's all very well explained by him, and you can see why in places this is slightly too dark, and you may find that's the case on your system. I didn't stop midway through to adjust the settings because I tend to find that upsets the enjoyment of the film that you should just be watching. but the picture quality on this is exceptional. Some people get upset with film grain. I love it, and okay, this is a bit coarse grained, and so I can understand why some people will think that it's maybe a detraction from the film, but it's deliberately like that, and it does give the film that look of the steelworks where this film starts and is based around. It gives it that look that you want of a steelworks town. Works extremely well. So the best image quality is when they head out of the steelworks to go into the mountains to hunt a deer. And hence the title of the film, and it's Robert De Niro's character who's really the deer hunter, Christopher Walken, and he's been talking about getting the deer with one shot. So given that this is a film about Russian roulette, and this is pretty much the climax of the film, you know how that one shot is going to end up, but I won't say more than that. The picture quality there in the mountains, it's surreal, it's just beautiful, and you really do feel, well, all the way through this you feel that you're watching a film print, and that is probably the most special part of the film, when they first arrive up the mountain there with all the snowy ice and that behind them in the mountains. So I'm delighted to see it again after about 40 years, and I recommend it to anyone. If you haven't seen The Deer Hunter for a long time to take another look. So highly recommended. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and perhaps consider subscribing, so I'll be encouraged to create similar content to this in the future. Until the next video, bye bye for now.